Again, my name is Lawrence Allen. I'm a member of the Texas State Board of Education. I've been on the board now going on 15 years, and the State Board of Education oversees the Texas Education Agency, which oversees the over 1,200 school districts in the state of Texas, and I represent District 4, so I have half of Harris County and a portion of Fort Bend County, 1.7 million people. So if you try to call me, my phone is always busy. Don't worry about the rest of it. It'll be okay. So we're doing great things. I want to thank Marilyn and them again for coming in today. And one of the things I want to say before we get started is that as I began this work about 10, 11 years ago, everything was about that one-day project. What could we get churches to come alongside and do? And whatever they wanted to do, we were trying to accept those petitions as the work that we were doing. So some were coming in for one-day objectives, some were coming in starting doing what they wanted to do on the campus. So they would contact me and simply say, this is what we want to do. Can we find a school that will accept our idea? And I would hunt schools down and say, A&E Church would like to come in one day and work with some children. Is that something you need? And it would take me maybe a month to find a fit. Maybe for a 1 week or 1 year project. And so when I started to talk with Allen of Houston, they sold me on this idea of what's called an organic relationship, where we're actually, and I couldn't really get it because I was so used to saying, what is it that you want to do? They kept saying to me, we want to simply ask the schools, what is it that they need? I said, man, that's not going to work. That's just not going to work. You know, you need to tell me what you do best so we can plug it in. And they said, no, Mr. Allen, we don't want to do that. And this whole training is about getting away from what I want to do and coming into the school's partnership to go alongside with the school to say, what does the school need? Some of the legal guidelines, and just as I look forward, it talks about public schools and religious institutions have different missions, but share the same civic and moral values. And certainly as I came in a little late, but I heard there were a number of youth pastors in the room. And one of the things we recognize in our churches is that it is important that we cultivate the youth. So that as I have a child that's a senior, we are preparing him to leave home. So wherever he goes, he finds a church home. That's one of his first things on his list. Because as this year goes by, when he leaves us, he should know how to put things together for where he's going. And he's been recruited in basketball, so he may be so far away from home, but he already knows there's some 1, 2, 3s that support what? His life. So we talk about the religious institutions and the school have the same mission. They have the same mission, but we share the same civic and moral values, and each is committed to the well-being of what? Children. Now, in this case, you'll find out that I heard earlier, in order to really take care of the children, it's important that we take care of the adults. One of the lost professions of appreciation from the community is the teacher themselves. And so when we go into schools, we'll find ourselves being able to minister in a special way to the well-being, the social well-being, the mental health of the adults that are in the building that are caring for these young people. And that is where we really hit the home run in our profession, really ministering to that adult. You know, like I know, because everybody in here has spoken to a teacher at some point in their life. There is a fatigue factor that comes along with the education profession. And there has to be a ministerial cheer in order to keep going. So there is going to be a support, and it's always good for children to have a consistency, because if you have a break in the instruction and a teacher leaves, the person who is most devastated is the child. So we want to make sure we're looking at all those facets by working together in ways that, this is a key word, that are what? Permissible. That are permissible. Permissible. Under the First Amendment, schools and religious communities can do much to enhance the mission of the public education. Simple. When you look at a school's mission statement, the objective is to what? Prepare children to be literate in a society where they can be contributing citizens and what? Go forth and produce the income, because in the state of Texas, actually, everybody from the state is trying to produce the workforce. When we're looking at education from the state standpoint, we are saying we are preparing our students to take care of the state. Because if we don't prepare the students to take care of the state, that means we're preparing the state's leaders, we're preparing the visionary individuals for the state of Texas, because not only does the community in itself, the small component, has to be taken care of, the state has to be taken care of. So if your child is in the second grade in Houston, they have the same curriculum is being taught in Dallas, the same curriculum is being taught in San Antonio, the same curriculum, state standards are taught in El Paso. Why? Because the educational system is about the state. You see that? It's about producing the human capital that's going to take care of the state. So when you learn your pledge, you learn all the things you need to know to be a what? A citizen and a proud Texan. Really, we're making Texans. Whether you're from somewhere else or not, if you go through the we're making proud Texans. All right? It says what to do in your partnership. What can you do? A school partnership is no different really than any other partnership. Businesses come alongside with us, Shell, Schlumberger, other entities, small companies, they come along and they partner, they sponsor, or you see sometimes Target, their volunteers come out and read, they do all other things. Well, churches can do the same thing. They can do the same thing. And many times it's not about just pulling on all the members to come and go do this and go do that, or trying to survey the expertise in the church. Sometimes we have to serve as any other community partner, and that is human capital is the most valuable thing that we have. Human capital is the most valuable thing that we have. When Target partners with us, they send out their what? Volunteers. So human capital is what we're talking about. Not necessarily a certificate or a skill set that one must have. One person must come in realizing that just the ability to love somebody is the strongest thing we're asking for you to do. Okay? We heard this many times today about what? Mentoring. And even though there are going to be some do's and don'ts in terms of mentoring, one of the things that we find in the wraparound services people will tell you today is that sometimes mentoring is as simple as saying something positive to somebody. It's not a skill set where you have to know a number of things. Just being able to tell that child something positive. Oh, I like the way you did that today. Every one of us, I know because it's my experience, were motivated because somebody said something kind to us one day in our life, and it made a true difference because they said, you're good at that. You know, I like the way you do that. You're going to be somebody. And those kinds of just speaking over you, not just from your parents, because you expect that from your parents, maybe not even from the teacher, because you maybe expect that from a teacher. But when a mentor is able to just speak kind words over you, it tells a child, maybe I am better than I thought I was. Because John in the other room told me I was not cute, and yet Miss Johnson says, you look so beautiful today. You're handsome. Those little things that you can do are big. So mentoring is really a simple thing. It's about caring on a consistent basis. Because even I think I shared with Marilyn, when my child was in school, they gave my child a mentor, and I rejected the mentor. My sister was the principal. I said, why would you give my child a mentor? They have the best father in the history of fatherhood. Well, you couldn't find another child to give a mentor to? But I didn't realize that. I left home at 6 o'clock in the morning because I was the principal of a high school, and I got back at 11 o'clock at night. And until my youngest son went to school and drew a picture of his family, and his daddy was not in the picture. And he said, my daddy doesn't live with us. Now, I was being a good father, but what? I left, he was asleep. And when I came home, he was asleep. And so my children needed a mentor. And my sister saw that because she was a principal, and I didn't realize it. So it's not always somebody that you think is down and out or on drugs or drinking. It's the person that's quite busy, like the people in this room, right? So that was a very valuable piece in my son's life, the mentor that my sister assigned to him. We used to get the 20 words a week, every week in school for spelling, and Mama would sit you down every night and bing, bring, sing, ding, you just keep on going on down. And on Friday, you would take your little spelling test, and so every week, but my mother would have to sit there with me and go over all these words, 20 words every night so I could get ready for Friday. And we called it, it was just natural. Well, children don't have that. They don't have that person to come alongside of them. And we didn't even have after-school tutorials when I was growing up. They wanted the campus clear as soon as the big out of here, let's go. But now there's a need for children. We're in HISD now serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We're serving, are you here? I want to make that clear. We're serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That tells you that there's an observation that maybe we don't want them to go home as soon, right? Okay. Again, I started earlier about supporting the teachers. And supporting the teachers is sometimes it could be as small as coming in and helping them prepare something for the classroom. And sometimes it can be just dropping a little note to the teacher, say, I captured you doing something good today. Because again, I talked about that motivational factor. When we come into the school, we need to what? Support the teachers as well. And if there's anything that we can do in a level of expertise, it'll also be beneficial. And then you have to empower parents. The dynamic, especially in the Hiram Clark area, is not like it used to be. Most of our teachers don't live in Hiram Clark, if we were in Hiram Clark. If the teachers are teaching in A-Leaf, probably most of the teachers don't live in A-Leaf, right? Yeah. So most teachers don't live in the communities that they work. And that's a totally different dynamic than when we were growing up. So how do we empower our parents is because we are the go-between. Because we are often, I was the principal at Jones High School years ago, and you would find most relationships with the school and parents were combative. Because the time you called me, it was because there's an accusatory spirit on my child. So when I'm coming here, I'm not coming here as sophisticated as I probably want to. And so I'm coming because I'm tired of this kind of harassment with my child. And so, but if you got there and saw somebody you knew, you say, well, Keith, let me talk with you, man. I did see John in the back. He said, well, Lon, I'm tired of him. I said, well, Keith, I'm here every day. Let me let you know. I'll be here watching and working and things will go. You have to have relationships. You have to have relationships because sometimes the issues can be too emotional. So when you go into a campus and you see somebody you know from your church, we're here, I'll monitor that, I'll check on it. That's everybody relax. Because the one thing you can't do at work, you can't do your work if you're worried about your child. Yeah. Not just the eating. You just can't be comfortable at work and concerned about your child at school. So sometimes it's about just being that support within the community and empowering parents by being the parents' eyes, the parents' ears over the school for just a minute to say, well, things are going well, giving them some confirmation. So there's a lot there. All right. What do we want to do? Now, I know here at New Faith, they probably have a concert every Sunday over here. Over here, they have, and there are a lot of things that we do in all of our churches and in our organizations, but we don't advertise those things with our schools. And say we're having a fall festival for our children in our youth ministry, and we may have it within our membership, but that would be a nice thing to share with the children in our schools. So if we're getting ready to do some major toy drive and to make sure that all the children in our church receive something for Christmas, however we look at that, that's something that we also could advertise within our schools with the permission of the principal. And that would be more inclusive of everybody. So we can advertise our church-sponsored activities. It says we can offer optional faith-based programs outside of the school hours, because you heard everybody talked about before school, after school. We're talking about going in and having a prayer circle with the teachers before school, and even at the lunch hour, long as it's not an instructional hour, because there are students who do meet at the flagpoles on some campuses and they have prayer. Christ on Campus normally meets before school and with all of the athletes, and then they have normally when they have some kind of visible t-shirts that they wear once a week, sends out a signal about expectations and responsibilities and upholding the principles that you're learning in those meetings. And so all that's positive. So we want to make sure we do those things and use those hours that are good for us as well. Okay, again, the main thing is with what? Permission. Now you could say, Mr. Allen, I know we have the right to do this and I want to do this, but if I'm the principal, I'm asking you not to put me in a bad situation, okay? Not to put me in a bad situation. So you still need to have my permission as the principal before you do anything. And that's just a good relationship. And so and don't take my no to say, well, we're never coming back. We came there to help. I talked to Mr. Allen and he refused our help. And so to heck with that school. They don't want us over there. That's not good. That's just maybe there needs to be an explanation on why I'm saying no at this time. Okay. And so again, it's with permission. And the principal grants this permission, not the state, not the superintendent. Don't call anybody else to see if we can get it done and all of that. Because we want to come alongside where we're in the area of where we match, where things are good. Because the principal may have a lot of things going on. You don't know the dynamics that may be going on. The phone call he got last night, he got a call from a Muslim family that said there were 2 individuals from the church. They were trying to turn the child into a Christian. And he said, right now, let's just take a break. Till we get this thing together. I need to do some research. So we may not know. So don't allow a no to turn you away. We're going to have more yeses than we have no's. Okay? All right. What is it that we cannot do? What is it that we cannot do? Can't proselytize. Okay, we cannot proselytize or evangelize. This is not the time to see a child in the hallway crying and say, let me lay hands on you right here. let me get this devil out of you right now. This is not the place to build your ministry. We're 3 members short. We need to get it up. Need for you and your mom to come right on in this week. We have a special seat on the front row for you this weekend. Would you all please come? This is not the time. I know without a shadow of a doubt that if you were on the campus, you're already praying. You're already handling the atmosphere. You're already dealing with it in your own way. But it's not the time for us to proselytize, to advertise our church as a viable option for you and your family. It's not the time for us to evangelize and tell you, I say, man, well, you come here every week. Can you tell us? I don't even know if anybody come like that. Well, it's because of Jesus, baby. If it wasn't for Jesus, I wouldn't be here. Maybe we don't want to do it that way. Maybe that is the answer. Maybe that is the answer in your heart. But you're simply here because you love to serve, right? So that is an appropriate answer without one feeling like I didn't give you a truth. Somebody, I don't want you to feel like if I said I'm here because I'm here to serve and be a part of what this school is trying to accomplish is different because I came along the side of mission with Jesus to get things, to accomplish his will. So we cannot what? Proselytize or evangelize because that does not mean you cannot wear something. Teachers are allowed to put religious symbols in their classroom. They're allowed to wear religious symbols, whatever they are. And so you can be who you are as authentically as you carry yourself to be. If you wear a scarf with 900 scriptures on it everywhere you go, you can do that as well. But you cannot what? Proselytize and evangelize, So, but you can't take that scarf and lay it on him. So, get this flu out you real quick right here, right now. You all understand what I'm saying. All right. You cannot initiate conversations on religion. I guarantee you, if you're there often enough, a child is going to ask you about religion. And look here again. It says, I didn't initiate the conversation. So you might be safe because you didn't initiate the conversation, But when that child goes home and you don't know what the religious position is in that home, and they begin to say something contrary to what their parents are teaching them, that's going to be a conversation with the principal about these church members that are coming in trying to convert my child, or they trying to make my child a Buddhist or whatever. You know, you got what I'm saying? And then when the principal asks you about it, you'll simply stand on this side of the law by saying, I didn't what? Initiate it. Now, I ask you again not to put the principal in that what? Situation. So the principal may not be able to say something that you violated the law, but the principal may have to say, I need to clear my atmosphere. Because I've got to serve my parents as well until I can check again with the church and make sure that we're not doing certain things. We may have to move that institute out because I have one complaint that's damaging. So we want to really be conscious of that, not to engage in a religious conversation. If you want to say, hey, I'll tell you what, let's go over your math right now, and one day when we have an opportunity that's right, we'll get a chance to talk about those things. I mean, believe me, if you're working with a child consistently, you'll get to know their parent as well. You'll get to know the parent as well. And if it's like me in my situation, my son began to go to church with his mentor. You know, he began to ask me first, just could he go to carnivals and whatever was going on. And then when we felt comfortable with him, he invited us as a family to church, and my son got to know his children. And this thing went from 2nd grade to 12th grade. You understand what I'm saying? So he was really looking at my son then like his son. This young man that he met in the 2nd grade, and he was white, so I was really in trouble. I was really nervous. Then I said, what is this? What is going on here? I don't think my sister and I speak today behind that nonsense. But I truly, he and I became friends too, so I'm telling you, it's important. It's important for us in the room. I'm telling you, if you have a child in school, make sure that the school assign your child a mentor. If you're wraparound services, get your own child a mentor, okay? You cannot directly invite them, and we talked about this is not where you build your church, right? This is not where you realize that we can capture them because they're not coming to the church. Let's go to the school and get them there. That's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. So you never want to even be accused. Again, that's the prophetizing, advertising, and trying to get things in place. If you continue to walk in the light that you should walk in, somebody's going to follow that light. And if somebody realizes that light might be birthed out of new faith, somebody's going to go in the door of new faith. I just have got to see what's going on because these people that come out of new faith, is something different about them. That's going to happen. But it didn't happen because you just directly invited them. We all right?